Okay, so we've now completed Quadrant 1, or the Personal Information Quadrant, and now we're going to move on to Quadrant 2, or the Academic History Quadrant. This is most likely going to be one of the more time-intensive quadrants, because you're going to have to fill out essentially all of your colleges that you've attended alongside the classes that you've taken. I'm going to not show that arduous process too much, but just show some of the pieces of it so that you can move quickly through this section. So the first part here is including what colleges you've attended. You click Add a College, and then this will quickly allow you to search for whichever school that you've been to before. So I'm a CSU MB graduate myself. I'm going to go ahead and find that in here. Bear with me as I'm typing. Something of minor note for CSU applicants, you're going to have to include a hyphen between CSU and then the campus that you attended, which might be relevant for many of you. So just something to keep in mind as you're searching. Okay. And then what you'll do is you'll obviously click that, yes, you obtained a degree from this college. And for those who have a degree in progress, this is really important for admissions to be able to see where your GPA is for admissibility standards. For our program and for all CSU programs, we abide by the 2.5 minimum GPA requirement that the CSU requires. So it's important for us to know that information as you're filling this out. Okay. So then what type of degree did you earn? I've earned a couple here, but just for the sake of what most of you will be like, you moving in with just a bachelor's degree as applying, I'm going to include that. Then you're just going to have very simple when you started, or when you, in this case, when you earned it. So I earned mine undergraduate a few years back. And then my major, now this is going to be an interesting one because some of the majors, like even here, these actually aren't majors that we have here on campus, some of them at least. So you're going to have to do the best that you can to find what your major was comparative to maybe another school's. So mine was most like a communications degree, even though it actually wasn't necessarily that by name. Okay, so then I had no minor. And then if you were a double major, you'd want to click that box. Okay, and then also you're going to want to report all degrees. So in my case, I'm skipping that. I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me put in CSU and B a couple of times. This will be important for you to include this for any times you've received multiple degrees from a university. Or if you want to include another college, you would go back and do the same thing again. All right, also very important for us to know what type of term system was being used. For most schools, it's probably a semester, but quarter is still very much a reality, okay? And then this is going to basically ask when you attended from. So I'm going to just quickly roll through this. And then the last semester that you finished your degree in, okay? So all very straightforward so far. It's going to be more of the transcript entry that's going to take more time, or unless you attended a lot of universities, then you would need to do this multiple times. So you're going to want to make sure that you're doing this for each and every university. And then as I showed before, if you earn multiple degrees at the same university, you'd want to make sure that you're showing each degree that you earned. Okay, so I've added my college there. Then you would move to this transcript entry screen. You can see here, there's a lot of text explaining how to do this. What you can do is you can technically skip this by saying, I'm not adding any college transcripts. I don't mind that because essentially graduate and credential applicants, as you can see, you should really only enter courses that you're planning on taking or are in progress. That's a really important distinction because if you were to put in all of your undergraduate classes, that would take a very long time. So it's very important to select the I am not adding any college transcripts in here because otherwise you're going to be here for ages. So to skip that and make this quicker, just select the I'm not adding any college transcripts. Pretty simple. And then you can go ahead and move down to the GPA entries box. And this is just going to be your best estimate of a GPA if you don't know it off the top of your head, but preferably you would be using either unofficial or official transcripts to back up whatever that was. So credit hours is important here. I believe mine was about 128 credit hours, and I'm going to guess my GPA, I think it was a 3.8. So we'll give you quality points by itself. It will do that calculation for you. Then you would just save. and then you'll have all of this information right in here. Okay, quality points is just a nice little scale to kind of try to even out GPAs amongst those who took more credits, etc. Okay, standardized tests are really not relevant for our program. Common question: do you want me to submit a Gmat or GRE score? You certainly can. Not necessary though. The only time we would want a Gmat or GRE score is if your GPA was under a 2.5. We would use that as, especially if you got a good GRE score, we would use that as a way to help you kind of take care of the 2.5 GPA requisite by, in lieu of it, using a GRE score that's strong. Okay. The only other test score that could be relevant is if you are someone who's applying with foreign transcripts. The TOEFL would be my recommended test of proving English fluency, but you could take the IELTS. That's an option. You could take the Pearson test of English, also an option. Most folks are going to take the TOEFL, though. That would be my recommendation because of the computer-based test. For most of you, you will not need to add any test scores. So you would once again select the I'm not adding any test scores button, and away you would go. Technically, even if you didn't need to take test score, or you needed to take test scores, for example, like needing to take the TOEFL score, you could skip this now if you want to submit your application quicker and just include your TOEFL score with your formal documents to the Office of Admissions. So that's section number 2. Pretty quick. If you are quick to skip the transcript entry and standardized tests, which I would recommend. If not, and you want to include all that information, you can. Once again, it would take quite a bit of time to do so, so we recommend skipping both of those by hitting those skip buttons.